John Calvin, The Reformed Theology, Institutes of the Christian Religion. John Calvin, architect of Reformed theological life, a scholar from Noyon. John Calvin was born on July 10, 1509, in Noyon, a small town in northern France. His father, Gerard Calvin, was a lawyer and church administrator who hoped young John would enter the priesthood. Calvin received a stellar education in Latin and theology at a local ecclesiastical school, showing an early aptitude for scholarship, discipline, and logic. At age 14, he went to the University of Paris, where he was immersed in scholasticism and classical studies. His intellectual brilliance was apparent, and his education was steered toward law at his father's urging. However, after Gerard fell out of favor with the church and died shortly thereafter, Calvin quietly returned to theology. During this time, he experienced a profound, though gradual, spiritual awakening, a sudden conversion, as he later called it. From then on, Calvin devoted his life to the cause of the gospel. Struggles and failures. The reluctant leader Calvin was a man of frail health, inward disposition, and academic temperament. He never sought the limelight or leadership, but the Reformation was raging, and neutrality was impossible. His first major theological work, Institutes of the Christian Religion 1536, established him as a key voice in the Protestant cause. Yet this fame brought danger. In the same year, while passing through Geneva, he was persuaded by fiery reformer William Farel to stay and help reform the city. Calvin reluctantly agreed, only to be expelled from Geneva 2 years later due to resistance from the city council and citizens. Humiliated but not defeated, he spent 3 years in Strasbourg ministering to a congregation of French refugees. When Geneva invited him back in 1541, he returned not in triumph, but in trembling, yet determined to finish what he had started. Routine and discipline. The rigors of Reformed Calvin's daily life in Geneva was marked by intensity, order, and purpose. He preached multiple times a week, often daily, while writing commentaries on nearly every book of the Bible. He met regularly with church leaders, city officials, and students. He also established the Geneva Academy, training a generation of pastors and missionaries. Despite chronic health problems, migraines, arthritis, kidney stones, Calvin labored tirelessly. He slept little, ate modestly, and rarely left the city. His life was marked by both self-denial and singular focus, the glory of God in the reform of church and society, success shaping the reformed world. Throughout his theological writings, Calvin gave structure and coherence to Reformed theology. He emphasized God's sovereignty, the authority of Scripture, the priesthood of all believers, and the centrality of preaching. Under his leadership, Geneva became a model of Protestant reform. Its reputation as a school of Christ drew exiles and reformers from all over Europe. Among them was John Knox, who carried Calvin's vision back to Scotland, laying the foundations of Presbyterianism. Calvin's institutes, expanded over the years, became the most influential systematic theology of the Reformation. His biblical commentaries and pastoral letters shaped generations of believers, though often misunderstood as cold or rigid. Calvin was deeply pastoral, concerned not just with doctrine but with holiness, worship, and love for neighbor. Conclusion. A story to stir the heart. Picture a gaunt, weary man, bent over parchment and candlelight, hand trembling from gout, yet poring over Scripture for the sake of a scattered flock. Picture a city once in chaos, now quietly reformed, not by force, but by preaching, teaching, and tireless prayer. John Calvin never sought power. He fled from it. Yet he became one of the most influential leaders in church history. His story reminds us that the greatest impact often comes not from charisma, but conviction, not from spectacle, but faithfulness. He invites us to build, as he did, not with hammers and swords, but with truth, humility, and perseverance. Calvin's life whispers a call: serve faithfully, think deeply, live wholly for the glory of God, and let history measure the result.